Good evening. Tonight, The Late Show goes to Croydon, variously described as New York in Eastern Europe and the English Alphaville. With its urban sprawl, tower blocks and a downtown area blown apart by the motorcar, you could say the London Borough of Croydon has an image problem. For its Conservative council, the town, once the standard bearer of the futuristic 60s, has become an embarrassment. So they've taken a bold step. In an unlikely imitation of the ambitious architectural projects more normally associated with French cities, the council has invited 15 of Britain's leading architects to rethink the town centre. Their plans go on show tomorrow in an exhibition organised by the Architecture Foundation. So will the glamorous names of British architecture, such as Sir Richard Rogers and Future Systems, be able to breathe new life into this quintessential post-war town? Is this a new dawn for the kind of ambitious planning that fell from favour in the Thatcher era? And, most important, will this brave new Croydon ever be built? Or is it, as some think, just a PR showcase for architectural pipe dreams? The Late Show went to Croydon to find out.
This is Brian Wolf in the LBC London Lookout. I'm just flying over Coombe Hill, Croydon. No vast problems there. There is a little bit of traffic trying to get into the centre of the town, and then we're flying down Purley Way, where there seems to be quite a jam into Purley Cross, and then on, we'll have a look around the Gatwick area after that. Down to Fred.
Not a great deal more to add to that, but of course the football at Wembley this evening is already causing major problems around there. The North Circular Road between the Harrow Road and Hanger Lane gyratory system, Blackbird Hill northbound very slow.
It certainly isn't a place I'd go and spend my summer holiday in, let alone even my weekends.
You think of Croydon, you sigh rather deeply, don't you? Think you don't actually want to go there.
The availability of, if you like, the coffee bar, bohemian atmosphere certainly couldn't be found in East Croydon, not that I knew of.
It's a classic problem of Eastern Europe, it's a problem of Croydon.
I wonder. I get a lot of old people in, you know, and they don't like it. The old people, I'm not saying all the old people, but a lot of the old people don't like it. They obviously miss old Croydon, but I think the young have been brought up with it. It's when you're born with it, you don't expect anything different.
The weird thing about Croydon is it's probably the only place in Britain which actually grabbed whole development willingly. Most places in Britain try and get rid of the bulldozers and say, no, not in our backyard. Croydon, for a strange series of circumstances, decided, no, we want to have jobs, we want to have ice blocks. So sometime about 55, what had been a typical southeast England market town turned itself into what can only be called the English Alphaville.
Idéal ici, Alphaville, c'est une société technique, comme celle des termites ou des fourmis.
Unlike Canary Wharf, which is half empty, Croydon has been more or less full, all of its office space, ever since it started. It's one of the biggest shopping centres in southeast London. It's a place where people vote with their feet. People come here. It works, except in the sense of architecture. And I suppose that's what has now got Croydon rather worried. It has got this image problem. It's got this name, which second only to Neasden is one of the most, well, it's a turn-off. It's got this image of being concrete shoeboxes, which is not the way you attract those footloose job creators from Silicon Valley and Tokyo.
There's a kind of edge city blues, like the Newtown blues, when people say, oh, we're really part of the second 11, you know, we're not first string, we've been sent out here by some insurance company, they couldn't afford to put us in the center where the action is. There's a feeling that it's always happening somewhere else. And of course, the people who hate these edge cities say about it what they said about Oakland. When you're there, there's no there. I mean, what the horror of these places is that they lack a really strong identity, a strong focus, which is why, of course, the fathers and mothers of Croydon are desperate to give it a new image, which is why they've gone to the architects and the Architectural Foundation.
The Architectural Foundation has for some time been involved in trying to improve the quality of the environment, specifically in London. The leader of the Croydon Council, Sir Peter, came to us and asked whether we would be interested in looking at Croydon.
Quel genre de problème?
Départ des trains et des avions,
La circulation des hommes et des marchandises,
la distribution de l'électricité,
la répression du banditisme.
les opérations de guerre.
One of the problems for businesses is that Croydon has been perceived until very recently as a place that was constructed primarily in the 1960s and 70s, and that as business needs have changed, Croydon hasn't kept up to date.
The idea of an exhibition for Croydon, of course, comes about from our need to change perceptions, to bring Croydon to the attention of the people who matter in terms of making investment decisions, whether it's to stay here or to locate here.
It's quite interesting how history seems to repeat itself in towns. There are pictures which show kind of the city fathers of Croydon in the 50s poring over those models of this so-called mini Manhattan, Alphaville or whatever, with this idea about what do we do about the future. And in some ways, I guess there's been a repetition of that. There's a local authority which is very ambitious for making sure that Croydon goes on attracting jobs, goes on increasing its rateable base. So what they've done is go back to the idea of a vision for what the place could be like.
Chez l'ingénieur en chef.
We were bombed extensively in Croydon during the war, but it was sporadic. It was not concentrated in any particular area. There was a certain amount of bombing in the centre, but the redevelopment really wasn't done because of massive bombing in the town. The then London County Council placed a restriction upon office development in the centre of London, having in mind that it would be much better for the expansion of their offices to go out into the suburbs. And Croydon found themselves in a very favourable position, being only a quarter of an hour train journey from East Croydon Station to the London Terminal.
Even while World War II was still going on, there were people in back rooms in County Hall worrying about what London was going to be like after the war. There was an obsession that central London was too crowded. There was too many jobs squashed too close together with too many people living there. And there was this idea that we had to decentralise, that central London would lose jobs to this kind of stud of satellite office centres. Croydon was the only one that actually seized on the idea of being one with open arms.
Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, this is completely rebuilt. I had a guy in a cab from Australia. He emigrated 40 years ago. And he got in my cab at East Croydon Station to go to Old Town. And as he left East Croydon Station, he said, I don't know where I am. And up until the age of sort of 18, this was his town. He didn't recognise a thing. That's how much it's altered.
You might actually say that Croydon has always been doing this sort of thing. The development that took place in the 1960s and 70s was very much inspired by the council of that time, a council which was under the same political management as the current council.
We find in the 1990s, in a kind of post-Thatcherite era, that the Conservatives are relearning the importance of a generalized planning to improve the infrastructure and to work along with the marketplace. And I think it's the, it's the now common wisdom